Hi everyone, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. Today's Friday, July 29th. I'm Sean Duhamel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've got some really big news to report to all of you. Yesterday morning, Governor Baker signed into law the 5% state and teacher retiree COLA is retroactive to July 1st. There is also an amendment to our language allowing for local retirement systems to also increase the local COLA up to 5%. But before I get into any of the details of those things, I want to just update you on a couple of other items really quick. First and foremost, next Friday, August 5th at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, we will be having our legislative wrap-up teletown hall event. All of the information for this members-only event can be found in the July edition of The Voice on page 3. It is also contained in today's email message to all of our members. And finally, our teletown hall toll-free number can also be found on the back of your 2022 Mass Retirees membership card. Our meetings, our town hall meetings in particular, are members-only events. So you need to be a member of Mass Retirees in order to participate. We will be taking questions from you once again. There's a lot to talk about, so hopefully if you're available next Friday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time, please join with us. These are always, again, well-attended events, and we look forward to holding them. And we will be holding our annual meeting in person in Randolph at Lombardo's on the Friday after Labor Day. That meeting begins at 11 a.m. and we're looking forward to seeing our members in person at that meeting. So that's where things stand in terms of association announcements. However, one more just housekeeping announcement. I want to give you a little bit of a preview. Next Friday's video and email message will be an update on the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. Obviously, there is a great deal of interest and anticipation and hope that we might be able to make some progress on these issues this year. There has been a lot of chatter in Washington and around the country about full repeal versus reform and all the different variations of that. I know we're getting a lot of questions coming into our office and on our Mass Retirees Facebook page. So next Friday's update will be fully focused on WEP, GPO, where things stand, what our position is, and our honest outlook in terms of what's happening and why we hold the position and the beliefs that we do when it comes to WEP and GPO. But for now, I want to focus this week's message on the COLA. This is a really big deal, and I want to thank the legislature and all the local retirement board officials who have been involved in this effort really for the past year. Last summer, we began to lay out the case of why we believed that not only was an increase in the COLA necessary to help meet the demands that exist right now because of inflation. And a year ago, no one had any idea that the situation would get as bad as it is right now in terms of costs of virtually everything skyrocketing, whether it's gasoline or food or any item that you're going to buy. The prices are just going up and up and up. And if you're a retiree in particular, living on a modest fixed income, you're really getting squeezed and help is needed. And the little bit of help that's come through in the form of a pension COLA, we realize it's not enough to fill that gap, but it's something. And it's a step forward, and we're going to continue to build on that. But a year ago, we began to lay out the case. And most importantly, we started laying out the case of why we believe that an increased COLA percentage excuse me, is affordable, and why we believe that local retirement systems, as well as the state and teacher retirement systems that are controlled by the Commonwealth and monies managed through the PRIT Fund, why we believe that the success of these systems over the past decade or more justifies and can pay for itself going forward. And we're going to continue to work on that. But for now, we should all be proud of what we've been able to achieve in the step forward at the state level of achieving the 5% COLA, which provides a maximum benefit for state and teacher retirees of $650 added to the bottom line of your pension. And that's one of the things that sets Massachusetts apart. In most other parts of the country, Whether it be at the state level or at the municipal level, retirees typically receive a COLA in the form of what's known as a 13th check, a bonus payment, if you will. And that bonus payment is a one-time payment. So you might receive $500 or $600 or even $1,000 in any given year, but that amount does not become part of that retiree's pension. It's a one-time payment. Here in Massachusetts, the COLA system that was set up decades ago, and that Ralph White and our association played a key role in back in the late 60s and early 1970s, shortly after we were founded, that became the foundation of what we have today. And the key part of that foundation is the fact that every single COLA payment that you receive becomes a permanent part of your pension, meaning it can never be taken away from you. You're going to get it every single year, and it's cumulative, so your pension continues to grow over time. So while we're always fighting for more and always trying to do our best to maximize that annual benefit, because we know how much it means to people and how much people really depend upon this, especially given the fact that many of you receive little to no Social Security benefits because of the fact that you were a career public employee in a non-Social Security state. So it puts the importance of your pension and your COLAs at a much higher level than some other folks who may have worked under Social Security and earned full benefits on both sides. So it is a big deal to achieve a 5% COLA. It's the biggest increase or largest increase in the COLA benefits since 1992. So in 30 years, it's a big deal. Now, as I mentioned at the outset, the governor approved the 5% COLA for state and teacher retirees. So that amount has already been added to state retiree pensions. I got to give credit to our friend, State Treasurer Deb Goldberg, who was able to utilize the payroll system for the state retirement system that virtually closed on Thursday. The treasurer was able to wait to the absolute last second and included the 5% COLA in state retirees' pension checks. And Thursday morning, we started getting phone calls from members saying, I think I got my COLA. And this was a surprise to us. So again, Treasurer, thank you. Nick Favorito, the Executive Director of the State Retirement Board, played a big role in this. Frank Valeri, of course, our association president and one of your elected members on the board, and Teresa McGoldrick. Thank all of you so much for getting this done and getting that money in our members' hands as soon as possible. Now, for retired teachers, unfortunately, the teacher retirement system payroll closed several days ago, and it was at a time when the COLA still had not legally been approved, so they could not include it in the pension check since it was not legal to do so at that time. So for retired teachers, your COLA payment will appear in your August pension check and be retroactive to July 1st. So no one's missing out on anything. Now at the local level, things have gotten a little bit more complicated. Originally, our proposal that was passed unanimously by the House and the Senate was very simple. It put the decision in terms of the local COLA and increasing the local COLA from 3% up to 5%, so an additional 2%. It put that decision in the hands of the local 5-member retirement boards. And as we say, there are 102 retirement systems. That means 102 boards. They know best when it comes to how local retirement systems can handle these kinds of payments and how successful they've been and all the mechanics of that. So for this instance, we believed it was best for local retirement systems to have control over this. Unfortunately, Governor Baker, due to the misinformation put out by the Mass Municipal Association, and I've got to say, in all of the years I have been working for you here at Mass Retirees, and prior to that as a legislative assistant in the House of Representatives, which is now more than 30 years, I have seen time and time again the MMA misrepresent the facts, distort the facts, put out misinformation. It's one thing to have a policy disagreement, which comes all the time with the types of things that we're working on, and you understand that as, excuse me, former public employees yourselves. But when one side continues to misrepresent the truth and puts out disinformation at times, it really clouds and muddies the waters and makes everyone's job that much more difficult. It's unfortunate, it's unnecessary, And I hope we get to the point where someone finally says enough is enough of this. We're not going to put up with misinformation being spread. It's just not right. But that's a fight for another day. But because of the actions of the MMA and leading the governor to believe that somehow our language, that again was unanimously approved by Republicans and Democrats in the legislature, somehow tilted the scales at the local level and endangered the local finances of cities and towns, which nothing can be further from the truth, the governor chose to file an amendment to our local option provision to allow local executive authorities a role in the approval of the COLA. Now, given the fact that we only have a few days left in this legislative session, and we cannot afford taking a risk of Governor Baker vetoing this language, we have no choice but to accept his amendment and move forward and play the hand that we've been dealt. And we're going to work very closely with local retirement boards, our local retirees, as well as with mayors and boards of selectmen and county commissioners across the state to help them do their jobs and provide factual information on how the COLA works, how it's financed, and why this is a necessary step forward to help retirees during one of the highest pressure points in terms of inflation in my lifetime and in the lifetimes of most of our public officials at this point. And thankfully, we don't go through these problems very often, but when it does happen, we need to come together and figure it out. So the way the governor's amendment would work, the local retirement board would have to first approve the additional 2%. They would then need the approval of the mayor, a board of selectmen, county commissioners, and depending on which retirement system specifically we were talking about and how their local legislative bodies and administrative structures are set up. But again, we're going to work with local cities and towns to get this done. We envision that the majority of the 102 local systems will follow suit, hopefully, and we will work with you at the local level as best we can to move this forward. Now, the good news is that the legislature is technically still in session through the end of this year and into the first week of January, as a matter of fact. This amended section that the governor sent back is now in bill form before the legislature. I have a frog in my throat, I'm sorry. The legislation does not have to be enacted by the end of this week. We can work on this well into August or later in the session if need be. However, we know that time is of the essence. We are urging the legislative leadership to take up this provision and send it back to the governor for his final approval sooner rather than later. We want to make sure that we're giving ample time for cities and towns to tackle this and to, if they are going to approve it, do so in a timely fashion to help retirees and get that kind of money at the local level in your pockets as soon as possible. We're disappointed, and it's unfortunate that we have to go down this road, but as I said before, at times you have to play the hand that you're dealt, and we've run out of time, and we need to make the best of a difficult situation, which is exactly what we're going to do. So again, next Friday, we're going to have a full update of WEP and GPO for all of you. That will be in our Friday morning message. Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock, we will be holding our Mass Retirees Members Only Teletown Hall event. I hope you can join with us. Again, thank you for tuning in this week. If you've watched this video, thank you for watching it to the end. We very much appreciate it, and we will be back to you next week. Take care, everybody.